Okay, so let's jump into sustainable sourcing.
Yeah,
It's a hot topic right now, especially for companies who are sourcing their products globally.
absolutely.
You've probably heard of ESG,
Yeah.
environmental, social, and governance.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like this set of standards that investors are using more and more to evaluate how responsible companies are.
Right. It's really changing the game for global sourcing.
It is. So imagine you're a company and you're looking to source products from Vietnam.
Okay.
What are the things you need to know to make sure that you're doing it right?
Right.
Not just for your business, but for the planet and the people involved.
That's the big question, and that's why we're here today.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of research and articles here that focus on sustainable sourcing in Vietnam.
Okay, cool.
So there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, there is. So first of all, like, why is sustainable sourcing such a hot topic right now? It's been around for a while, but it seems like everyone's talking about it now.
Yeah, it's like a perfect storm of factors.
Yeah.
You've got consumers that are super aware now of the impact that their purchases have.
Right.
They want ethically and sustainably made products, and they're willing to pay more for them.
Yeah. And I find myself doing that too. Like, I'm paying a lot more attention to where my clothes come from, where
Absolutely.
the electronics come from.
Yeah.
But it's not just consumers, is it?
No, you're right. There's pressure from governments and regulatory bodies all over the world,
Mm.
and they're setting stricter standards for environmental and social performance.
Yeah.
And companies are realizing they need to get on board if they want to stay competitive.
So companies are basically feeling the heat from all sides.
Yeah, to clean up their act.
Yeah, exactly.
And this pressure is pushing them to be really careful about the suppliers they choose.
Mm.
You know, they need to choose suppliers that can show a real commitment to sustainability.
Yeah.
Because partnering with the supplier who's lagging behind in this area could really hurt their reputation
Right.
and ultimately hurt their bottom line.
So how does Vietnam fit into all of this?
Yeah.
What are they doing to kind of step up their sustainability game?
Well, that's what's so fascinating about Vietnam.
Okay.
Vietnam is actually emerging as a leader in sustainable manufacturing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising because you hear a lot about pollution and labor exploitation in developing economies.
Right?
So how is Vietnam managing to kind of break that mold?
They're taking a multifaceted approach.
Okay.
So, for example, Vietnam's textile industry has been implementing innovative water-saving techniques,
Mm-hmm.
which has significantly reduced their water consumption over the past few years.
Okay.
And in the electronic sector, there's a huge push towards using renewable energy sources.
Yeah.
In fact, we have a case study here about a factory that's entirely powered by solar energy.
Wow. A solar-powered factory. That's amazing.
It's pretty impressive.
It sounds like they're taking this seriously.
Yeah,
But are these efforts just for show?
it's a good question.
Or is there a genuine commitment to sustainability?
I think there's a genuine desire to create a more sustainable manufacturing sector in Vietnam.
Okay.
And the government is actively promoting the country as a destination for green manufacturing.
Hmm.
And I think they recognize that this can attract foreign investment and boost their economy
Right.
while also protecting the environment and improving working conditions.
So there's a clear economic incentive for them to go green.
Absolutely.
But what about the companies that are sourcing from Vietnam?
Right.
What's in it for them?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, going green sounds expensive.
Yeah, that's a common misconception.
Okay.
Sustainable sourcing isn't just about altruism.
Okay.
There's a solid business case for it, too.
Okay. How so?
Think about it this way.
Okay.
When you prioritize resource efficiency, you're automatically reducing waste and you're minimizing your energy consumption.
Yeah.
That directly translates to lower operating costs.
Right.
You're also mitigating risks down the line.
Okay.
Things like potential fines for environmental violations or disruptions to your supply chain due to resource scarcity.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So it's not just about doing the right thing.
Right.
It's about doing the smart thing for your business as well.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the branding benefits, too.
That's right.
If companies prioritize ESG principles, they can really stand out on the market.
Yeah.
Especially as more and more consumers become conscious of their purchasing decisions.
All right.
Like when I see a product that has a fair trade label,
Mm-hmm.
I'm immediately more likely to buy it.
Yeah.
It just tells me that the company cares about its impact on the world.
Exactly. Consumers are looking for brands that align with their values.
Mm-hmm.
And sustainability is becoming a core value for many.
Yeah.
So if you're sourcing from Vietnam, finding a supplier with strong sustainability practices could be a real differentiator for your brand,
Yeah, for sure.
a real competitive advantage.
Okay. But I'm sure there are challenges too, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, implementing sustainability across these complex global supply chains can't be easy.
Yeah, it's definitely not a walk in the park.
So what are some of the hurdles that companies might face?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is that many suppliers,
Uh-huh.
particularly in developing regions, might need additional support to fully meet the stringent sustainability requirements that companies are setting.
Okay.
It's not always about bad intentions. Sometimes it's simply a lack of resources
Yeah.
or knowledge or access to technology.
So it's not about like pointing fingers and demanding change.
Yeah.
It's about working together to find solutions.
Exactly. Companies need to see this as an opportunity for collaboration.
Yeah.
Rather than an obstacle, they can work closely with their suppliers,
Yeah.
maybe even provide training and support to help them reach those higher standards.
So it's about building a true partnership where everybody benefits. The
Exactly.
supplier gets the help they need to improve their practices, and the company gets to ensure that their supply chain is truly sustainable.
Precisely by fostering these stronger relationships.
Yeah.
You create shared value and you ensure long-term success for everyone involved.
This has been really insightful.
Good.
I'm starting to see that sustainable sourcing in Vietnam isn't just about ticking boxes. It's about creating a more resilient and ethical supply chain,
Right?
which ultimately benefits businesses, workers, and the planet.
Exactly. It's about thinking long-term and understanding the interconnectedness of everything.
Okay, so we've talked about the why of sustainable sourcing.
Yes.
But let's get into the how.
Okay.
What can companies actually do to make sure that their sourcing practices are truly sustainable,
That's right.
especially when they're working with suppliers in Vietnam?
Okay.
What should they be looking for? What questions should they be asking?
That's a great question, and that's what we're going to delve into next. So first and foremost, companies really need to do their homework.
Okay.
It's crucial to understand the ESG landscape and how it applies to their specific industry
Right.
and their sourcing needs.
Okay.
What might be considered sustainable in one industry could be completely different in another.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. Companies need to tailor their sustainability strategy
Right.
to their unique circumstances.
Okay, so once you have a solid understanding of your own ESG goals,
Yeah,
you can start to vet potential suppliers
exactly.
more effectively.
More effectively.
So how do you go about vetting suppliers?
Right.
What are some red flags to watch out for? And what are some signs that a supplier is truly committed to sustainability?
Well, don't just take their word for it.
Okay,
Look for concrete evidence.
okay.
Ask for documentation audit reports,
Mm-hmm.
certifications from reputable third-party organizations.
Oh, hey.
Things like Fairtrade B Corp or GOTS certifications can be good indicators.
Oh, yeah, those certifications.
Yeah.
I've seen those labels on products.
Right.
But what do they actually mean?
Yeah,
Are some certifications more meaningful than others?
that's a great question.
Yeah.
Some certifications are definitely more comprehensive than
Okay.
others. Okay. For example, Fairtrade focuses primarily on fair labor practices
Okay.
and community development, while the GOTS certification for textiles goes deeper into the entire production process,
Oh, wow.
from the raw materials to the finished product,
Oh.
ensuring that environmental standards are met at every stage.
So companies really need to do their research.
Yeah.
Understand what each certification entails.
Exactly.
But certifications are just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Right.
What else should companies be looking for when evaluating suppliers?
Transparency is key.
Okay.
Look for suppliers who are open about their practices
Mm-hmm.
and willing to share data on their environmental footprint, labor conditions,
Huh.
and supply chain traceability.
I'm curious about the traceability.
Yeah,
How can companies ensure that the raw materials they're sourcing are actually sustainable?
right.
I mean, it's a complex supply chain.
It is.
How can you track things like cotton or coffee beans all the way back to their origin?
That's where technology comes in. There are some very exciting innovations happening in supply chain transparency,
Okay, like what?
like blockchain technology,
Okay.
which can help track materials and products throughout the entire journey,
Oh.
from farm to factory to consumer.
Wow.
Vietnam has actually been a pioneer in adopting blockchain solutions
Right.
to improve supply chain traceability, particularly in their coffee and seafood industries.
Wow, blockchain for coffee beans.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
So a company can actually see like the whole journey of their product.
exactly. It provides a level of transparency
Hmm.
that was never possible before,
Right.
and it can help to verify claims of sustainability
Okay.
and prevent things like fraud or illegal logging.
That's really impressive.
It is.
But even with all these checks and balances, I imagine that things can still go wrong.
Right.
I mean, no system is perfect.
Of course.
What happens if a company discovers that one of their suppliers isn't living up to their sustainability commitments?
That's where communication and collaboration are essential.
Okay.
It's important to have open conversations with suppliers,
Yeah.
address any issues that arise,
Right.
and work together to find solutions.
Mm.
Sustainability is a journey, not
Yeah.
a destination.
Yeah.
And even suppliers with the best intentions might have areas where they can improve.
So it's not about punishing suppliers who make mistakes.
Right.
It's about working together to raise the bar for everyone.
Exactly. And that's where I think companies can really make a difference.
Okay.
By providing support and guidance to their suppliers, they can help them improve their practices
Okay.
and achieve their sustainability goals.
Right.
This could involve sharing best practices,
Uh-huh.
providing access to training and resources,
Yeah.
or even offering financial incentives for suppliers who meet certain sustainability targets.
So it's about empowering suppliers to become more sustainable
Yeah.
rather than just dictating terms.
Precisely, it's about creating a more equitable and collaborative partnership
Right.
where everyone benefits.
This is a really nuanced perspective on sustainable sourcing.
Yeah.
It's not just about checking boxes or imposing strict rules.
It's
It's about building genuine relationships with suppliers,
Yes,
understanding their challenges, and working together to create a more sustainable future.
absolutely. It's about creating a win-win scenario
Yeah.
where businesses can thrive while minimizing their environmental and social impact.
I'm curious, what are some of the specific initiatives that Vietnamese suppliers are undertaking
Mm-hmm.
to improve their sustainability? Are there any shining examples that we can learn from?
There are quite a few.
Okay, like what?
In the textile sector, for instance, many factories are switching to natural dyes
Oh, wow.
and using recycled materials to reduce their environmental footprint.
Okay.
And in the agriculture industry, there's a growing movement towards organic farming practices
Okay.
and sustainable water management.
Wow, organic farming and recycled materials. Those are significant shifts.
They are.
But I'm sure there are challenges and complexities involved in implementing these initiatives.
Of course, there are always challenges.
Like what?
For instance, some sustainable materials might be more expensive
Okay.
or difficult to source.
Right.
And transitioning to organic farming practices can be challenging for farmers who are accustomed to conventional methods.
So how are Vietnamese suppliers overcoming these challenges?
Okay.
What kind of support are they receiving?
Well, there's a growing ecosystem of support for sustainable businesses in Vietnam.
Okay.
The government is offering incentives and subsidies
Mm-hmm.
for companies that adopt green practices.
Okay.
And there are numerous NGOs and international organizations
Right.
working to provide training technical assistance and access to funding for sustainable businesses.
So it's a collaborative effort
It is.
involving government businesses and civil society organizations.
Exactly. And this collaborative approach is creating a positive feedback loop,
Okay.
driving innovation and accelerating the transition to a more sustainable economy in Vietnam.
I'm really impressed by the progress that Vietnam is making in this area.
Yeah, it's very encouraging.
But at the end of the day, it all comes down to individual companies making responsible choices.
Absolutely. Companies need to see sustainable sourcing not as a burden,
Yeah.
but as an opportunity.
An opportunity for what?
An opportunity to do business better,
Okay.
to build stronger relationships with their suppliers,
Right.
and to create a more sustainable future for all.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We talked about the importance of vetting suppliers, looking for certifications and transparency, working collaboratively to address challenges.
Right.
What's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember about sustainable sourcing in Vietnam?
I think the most important thing is that sustainable sourcing is not just about compliance
What?
or risk mitigation.
Mhm.
It's about creating value. It's value for businesses, for workers, for communities, and for the environment.
Yeah.
And Vietnam is proving that it's possible to create a thriving economy while also protecting the planet.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
And I think it's incredibly inspiring to see a country like Vietnam leading the way in sustainable manufacturing.
I agree.
It shows that change is possible
Yeah,
and that we can create a more equitable and sustainable future for all.
absolutely. And I believe that by sharing these stories and insights, we can inspire others to join the movement
Yeah.
and make sustainability the new norm in global sourcing.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive into sustainable sourcing in Vietnam,
Okay.
I want to leave our listeners with a final thought to ponder. If sustainability is becoming the new standard for global sourcing, what steps can you take to ensure your own supply chains are aligned with these values?
That's a really important question.
Yeah.
It's something that every business leader needs to be asking themselves today, regardless of the size of their company or what they're sourcing.
Yeah, it's about making those conscious choices
It is.
and holding ourselves accountable
Yeah,
for the impact that our decisions have on the world.
absolutely. And remember, you don't have to figure this all out on your own.
Right.
There's a growing network of resources and organizations that are
Yeah.
dedicated to supporting sustainable sourcing.
And if you're looking for more in-depth information
Yeah.
and guidance,
Mhm.
um, we encourage you to check out our other podcasts in this series
Yes.
on responsible and effective sourcing in Vietnam.
Absolutely. And for those who are ready to take action,
Yeah.
we have a supplier request for information form on our website.
Okay.
You can just fill out the form with your product sourcing needs,
Mhm.
and our team will connect you with the right partners in Vietnam.
And if you prefer a more personalized approach,
Yeah,
you can always book a free consultation with one of our experts.
absolutely.
They can provide tailored advice and help you navigate all the complexities of sustainable sourcing.
We're here to support you every step of the way.
So until next time,
Yes.
keep diving deep and let's make sustainability the standard, not the exception.
I love it.